To you about a slightly alternative fantasy strategy for the 2016-17 season, and that is deplete your defence, because there are loads of 4.5 defenders and goalkeepers that are all going to play at the start of the season, giving you free cash to then smash your midfield or smash your strikers. So I've brought two example teams of doing exactly that. I'm going to have a quick look at them now, and you can see what you think. So here's a quick look at the team, which is based on three main principles. Number one, Aguero needs to be in your team, and he needs to be your captain. Number two, you've got the chance to pack the midfield full of big hitters, all starters, decent run of fixtures, none of them out of these four plagued by injury, fitness concerns, transfer speculation. All should be four absolute nailed-on starters for the start of the season, game week 1. And lastly, once you've splashed all this cash up front, you've then got a plethora of 4.5 defenders or 4.0s to finish off your team. Now, the fatal mistake for defenders would be to pick two 4.5s from the same team and risk your clean sheet every week on both of them. So I'd recommend picking one from the following types of pairs of teams. So Evans and McCauley from West Brom, you've got Heaton, Ben Mee for Burnley, Fry and Valdez for Middlesbrough. Once they regain their fitness, I'd definitely recommend looking at Flanagan and Soiree. If he finds a new club, then Coney will be a 4.5 playing for Everton. If he stays and is nailed on starter, it'll be Sunderland, 4.5. And once the fixtures improve a bit later on, you can start to look at Bournemouth and Watford, your likes of Francis, Ake, Craig Cathcart, etc. So the ones I've chosen here are based on fixtures. And plus I managed to free up 0.5 to get in a 5 million defender. I went for Stones because I think how else are you going to get a 5 million defender into one of the top 4 teams? It's just not going to happen. I know that there's other defenders out there that are 5 million that are a bit more attacking, but I think with the defensive prowess that a Guardiola team's going to offer, Stones is pretty much nailed on. After that, I went mostly on fixtures, so Middlesbrough, West Brom, Burnley. I've got a fairly decent run of fixtures to start off with the team. And then that leaves me then to come on to my midfield. So after a lot of deliberation, I decided that these 4 were the real nailed-on ones for game week 1. So when you look at the likes of Payet and De Bruyne, they got no much fitness. Dele Alli's had this fallout from the Tottenham transfer guy's resignation. You're just not sure how they're going to get on game week 1 if they play at all. So these guys are the big hitters in their team, guaranteed to start, loads of goals traditionally in them. Brilliant last season, apart from Hazard, but he did finish the season very strongly and has had a great pre-season. And you would have to hope that after 3 or 4 seasons starting rubbishly, he's going to suddenly switch on under Conte and take advantage of these 3 really good first few fixtures. Obviously, you can't fail to notice with this squad that it's a little bit light up front and that you have to rely on Long and Gray to be really hitting the ground running. Saying that, we all know about Gray's last season in the Championship, top scorer, 2 home games to start with. Shane Long, good end to last season, now should be leading the line for Southampton. If you're going to pick any 2 low-level strikers, 6.5s, differentiators, these 2 are going to be up there. So what you'll see from this squad, obviously, is that if you're going to make transfers, if you just want to make one like-for-like transfer, this squad allows you to get pretty much any midfielder that you want by swapping out one that might not be performing. Whereas if you want to suddenly put in your Ibrahimovic or your Harry Kane, you're going to have to take points hit most probably and do 2 transfers, swap out a midfielder and, for example, Gray from Burnley, whose fixtures have got a couple of tough away ones in the first 5. It's designed around like-for-like transfers in the midfield. But the next squad that you're going to see is designed around a stronger strike force, where you can then take your pick of strikers if one of them underperforms, that you can like-for-like transfer them. So here it is, and you can see that the major changes up front, we've managed to get in Harry Kane, which means obviously making a bit of sacrifice in midfield. So Fabregas and Ayew are performing. Now, you'd have to think that with Kante arriving, Fabregas is going to play more advanced, as will Hazard. Jordan Ayew, there's a lot of talk that he's going to be essentially playing a forward role, a kind of a number 10. So it seems like these are pretty sensible choices. Again, if you suddenly realise that you desperately need Ibrahimovic, you've got a like for like. You can transfer Kane out, use that extra 0.5 million, get him in. My particular plan with this was probably because I didn't like the idea of having two Chelsea midfielders risking all the points on them. I would play them for game week 1, and then for game week 2, once De Bruyne has got his fitness, I would swap Hazard for De Bruyne and then see how we go from there. So the main thing about both of these squads is don't be afraid to go light on the defence. I don't think you're going to find this to be much of a problem because you're never going to run out of 4.5s that are going to start for the first, for unlimited game weeks basically. And this season you don't have a really obvious Mahrez or Vardy coming in at a cheap price that's going to absolutely take the league by storm. So despite the balance to the squad argument, the defenders, they always earn fewer points. They're not guaranteed because they're 5.5 or 6 to be banging in goals or clean sheets. So I think that despite what a lot of people will tell you, it's worth the risk to go light on the defence and go Ferrari at the front from the midfield onwards.